Well, if it isn't the old jolly fat guy himself, Mr. Producer, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Now, before diving into today's podcast, a timely reminder that the 20% off the whole ball of wax promotion, which you're going to hear more about shortly, expires at midnight, Christmas Eve. That's when it all turns into a pumpkin or a frog or something like that. All I know is time is of the essence. Time flies. Don't lose track of time and be one of those who just got the deal in the nick of time. And now it's time for the show.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys today. And I wanted to talk short and sweet episode, sincerely. This will be a 20-minute episode and in and out, because I wanted to just keep this topic really simple and short and sweet. And that is talking about why you guys should move to a credit card on file system. Now, here's the deal. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about moving to a charge card on file system for probably the last year, maybe 2 years on the podcast, probably 3 or 4 years on YouTube. I actually adopted this approach and philosophy from a guy named Jonathan from Florida Turf Pros. Really, really good guy. I think you guys should look him up and check him out on YouTube. I think you'd like a lot of his content. He's not doing the trimmer wars and the blower wars. His videos are short and sweet. They're usually business-minded videos. And that's where I picked up the philosophy of having a charge card on file system for our lawn care business, for the lawn maintenance work that we do. The regular weekly mowing, the cuts that we do per week, per month, we tally it all up and we do a charge card on file and we cash out at the end of the month. Now, here's the deal. I've realized that a lot of you guys have not exactly adopted that. And there's some rebuttals out there to why folks are not moving to a charge card on file. Now, I get it. I hear you loud and clear. And I'm going to rip through this list. We're going to go from number 10 to number 1. I got a top 10 list about why I want to encourage you guys, implore you guys, beg you guys to move to a charge card on file for 2022. Now, here's the deal. I'll give some leniency and give you guys some slack. I know a lot of you guys are just finding the content. You've only been listening or watching on YouTube for a couple months or 6 months or maybe even a year. And you're like, man, there's a lot of things I'm trying to fix. And there's a lot of things I'm trying to put my business together and dial things in, prune, and just grow the company in general, right? It's a busy season. You know, we're all cutting grass. We're all doing landscaping. There's times to work on the company and there's times to work in the company. Sometimes you can do both. But in the off season or the fall, the winter here, for example, we can start working on some of the ways to make the business more optimized for the following year. I mean, that's constantly the conversation Liz and I have, or what can we do to get better, right? So here's the deal. Over the last couple of weeks, couple months, I've wrote down a list of all the rebuttals I've heard about why folks are not moving to a charge card on file. Now, here's the deal. I want to put a nail in the coffin on this episode, and I can always point people to it and say, hey, did you listen to episode 280 or whatever it is? And say, hey, go check out this episode about why I think charge cards on file are a great option for lawn maintenance for residential customers. Commercial customers, so we still invoice. Landscaping jobs, you can still invoice or have send an invoice online or get a check. But I want to talk about for your weekly core business, the lawn maintenance business, the set it and forget it kind of work, okay? By the way, if you guys didn't like this episode and you guys want to hop on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and we always appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever, engaging. It always helps the content. It's just a great way to reciprocate too with your favorite podcaster or YouTuber, those ratings, those reviews, the likes. Believe it or not, it goes a long way, those little micro additions to everything that you guys can contribute to, right? Well, if you like what we talk about on today's episode, you want to learn the how to actually add a charge card on file, I have a great video on YouTube talking about exactly how to do it, at least for Yardbook. I would imagine some of the other CRMs out there's a very similar system, but I do a screen share. I walk you through it. The video is like 8 minutes long. It can transform your business. And imagine this. Imagine going from having only 20, 30, 50% of your cash and your cash flow and your monthly revenue coming in for your lawn maintenance to having 90, 95, 98, 99% of that money coming in. I talked about at Launchpreneur Academy, what would it be like if you had $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 a month coming in? $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $20,000 a month, right? For 1, 2, 5 years, how different could your life be? Now, maybe you have 2, 4, 5, 10 crews. What if you have a 10 crew business and each route or each crew is taking care of 100 customers, and that was 1,000 customers? And what if at the end of the month you and or an office girl or a team of office folks went through and charged card on file 1,000 folks, and that is, I don't even know, $20, $30, $50, $80,000 a month in business, and you get 99% of it a week later in your account? How different would your life be if you had 99% of your money that you did work for 4, 5, 6 days later? We're going to get into it. I'm going to show you guys how. And here's the other side. Here's the flip side. You guys have heard me talking about being, on other episodes in the past, being a debt collector. I was a professional debt collector more than I was a professional lawn care business owner, lawn care owner, or landscape professional. We would chase down money forever, okay? Forever. We always had money owed to us, and we didn't have like crackhead customers, okay? I mean, I'm sure we had 1 or 2, but it wasn't like these people were delinquent or didn't have the funds. They're in $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 home values. I was always leaving invoices every month, like religiously. I had a system of billing, but I did not have an effective way of collecting. And frankly, the way I was even collecting was inefficient, right? It doesn't even matter how fast you want to drive the Ford Focus. The car is going to top out at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. I can go first gear in a Ferrari, and it's probably going to tap out and beat a Ford Focus going in 6th gear. All right, so I want to get some of you guys out of the Stone Age. Let's work on this. Let's do a little mindset shift. I'm not here to sell and convince you guys to move to a charge card on file system, but I do want to put the nail in the coffin about some of these rebuttals and go through these, because I think it would really help, because these are some of the same fears, anxieties, and concerns that I had before moving to a charge card on file system. Right? Does that sound fair? So I'm really looking forward to this episode. These are some of the notes that I've been writing down today. Some of this is based off of some conversations I've had this last couple of days, last couple of weeks. But so before we get into it and hear from today's show sponsors, one quick note that I wanted to cover here, the whole ball of wax promotion. Yes, you guys are going to hear about it one more time, maybe 2 or 3 more times before we get to Christmas Eve, because I think it's very, very important to any of you guys that are going all in 2022. The whole ball of wax is all of our training programs, all of our documents, all the postcard designs, art files, every single thing we have. Plus, it includes a 1-hour coaching call with yours truly on the website at launchpreneuracademy.com. Normally, it's $9.99, and it's on sale for 20% off with promo code ALLIN20. I'm telling you what, this next 8-10 days before Christmas Eve, the sale's going to end. This is the last call. I'm trying to hit the horns, the megaphone, try to scream from the rooftops. Decide whether or not you want to invest into it. My suggestion would be make the decision. If you've been on the fence or you think you're going to do it the next day or 2 and you think you're going to do it anyway, don't wait till Christmas Eve to take advantage of the sale, because here's why. Not only do you get all the resources that we have right now, you're going to get all access to 6 new resources that we have available that January 1st, when we hit publish, they're going to be available. It's going to be another $200-$300 worth of, even more actually, about $400 worth of resources. If you have the whole ball of wax, you get those for free, because you get lifetime updates, lifetime upgrades, any new programs, resources, contracts, art files that we put together. And of course, we've been adding 4 to 8 new things every year. I think we added 4 things one time 2 years ago. We added 8 more resources. That's when the bundle doubled in price. Then we added 17 new resources this last spring, if I'm not mistaken. And every time we do, we got to jack up the price accordingly, right? So here's the last thing I'll say. Decide if you want to get the whole ball of wax. If you're going all in and you want to get all the resources we have now, plus if you're growing your company and you're adding, listen to what I'm saying, here's some hints. If you're adding team members, if you're adding crews, if you're expanding services, if you're looking to prune some customers, okay, there's going to be some really solid resources there. You're not going to get one out of the 6 and be like, man, only one's good out of the 6. I'm telling you, all 6 are going to be banger, and you're going to love them. So if you want to invest into the whole ball of wax right now, go to launchpreneuracademy.com, click checkout, get the bundle. It's $800. I'm telling you, it's pennies on the dollar for what you're going to get access to already. plus the next 6 resources that we're going to have. And that's just January 1st. Who knows what we're going to come out through January, February, March, April, and obviously through the rest of 2022. All right, fair enough. So that is my quick little soapbox. The only reason I bring it up 1 or 2 more times on the podcast, I want to make sure everybody hears it and everybody has the chance to get it, because looking at my calendar right now, we've got 10 days left until Christmas Eve Friday. And once that promotion is over, the whole ball of wax is going up. And then January 1st, we're going to raise the price big time, including coaching calls. So if you want to purchase a coaching call, they don't expire. Get them now and talk to yours truly in the off season in the winter when we both have a little bit more time. All right. So let's do this really quick. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer. We're going to hear from today's show sponsor, show announcements, and then we're going to come right on back talking about 10 rebuttals that I constantly get about why not a charge card on file. And I'm going to answer you back with as much honesty as I can and tell you exactly why you should adopt a charge card on file system going into 2022. Let's check it out.
Oh, I do hope you're going to have the happiest Christmas ever. Hey, it is Mr. Producer. The Brian's 10 promo code, the coupon code, it's still out there. It's still active and ready to save you 10% on purchases at Equipment Defender, at Ballard Equipment. It can save you 10% on Cujo Yardware, Rhino hitch receivers, Proven locks, Darwin's grip, and so much more. You can find that link in the description. In the show description, just look for the link tree. That, of course, has all of Brian's special deals and links where you can get Launchpreneur merch and so much more. Check that out in the show description. And now back to more of Fullerton Unfiltered.
All right, guys. Well, let's go back into our top 10 list, and we're going to go from 10 to 1. And I'm not going to say that they're in any particular order, but I will say we're going to save some of the best for last, the last 2, which are some of the most common ones. I understand and I get it the most. So let's go back to a charge card on file. Why I think it is a great option. Number 10, people won't do it or people will cancel. Now, I heard that from every single person. In fact, I shopped the idea around to moving a charge card on file system on YouTube first, because why not? What better place to get the opinion of the world than to go to YouTube and tell everybody what you're going to do with your business, your life, your finances, and your money? Oh boy, do people like to chime in and weigh in. So 50, 100, 250 comments later on the YouTube video. 50%, man, this is awesome. Let me know how it goes. The other 50%, you're going to lose half of your business. You're going to turn and burn. Yeah, everybody's going to cancel you. Nobody's going to give you your credit card info. And this is 4 years ago, and people were making it sound like it was 1999 all over again with the internet, right? I'm not putting my credit card info on that website, All right, look, here's the reality. I had 120 customers 4 years ago when we moved to a charge card on file system. You want to know the honest answer about how many people moved over to a charge card on file? 118 out of the 120 or so that we had. I think we had 123 customers. But 118 out of 120. One lady literally refused. Another guy I've told the story many times, he was 92 years old, and I didn't have the heart to cancel this 92-year-old guy. He looks like Papa Smurf. He comes out with a check. He always messed with me and my guys. He'd be like, hey, how many cuts this time? Only 3. And I'm like, no, we were here for 4. And he goes, I know that. And he'd backslap me with his frail 110-pound frame. And he was just a really funny old man. And he was on it. Every time we were there for the 4th week of the month on Thursday, he'd cut the check. Never missed a beat. But I'm telling you what, if you're like, well, you don't understand my customers. Mine are all, I got trailer park customers. I got wealthy customers. I got black customers. I got white customers. I've got Indian customers. I've got this customer. Every race, every color, every creed, every socioeconomic status, married, single, divorced, trailer park, home value type customers, $300,000-$400,000 home value type customers, $500,000 $1 million homes, $1 million+ homes. I have all of that in my 120 customers. Guess how many people? Well, you already told you the answer. How many people did not want to sign up? 2. One lady was literally crazy, and I didn't like her anyway. Honestly, I was really good that's what got her to cancel, because I wanted to cancel her anyway. If you ever want to cancel a customer, just jack the price up 20, 30%, not 3, 5, 10%. I'm talking 20, 30%, and then let them cancel you. That's a good way to cancel a customer if you don't have the gumption to do it and you want to be nice, but you don't know how to cancel and be nice. Just jack up the rate 30% when they go, what the heck? And just go, hey, it is what it is, and they'll cancel you. All right. One lady, she's like, well, I don't have a bank, I don't have a credit card. And I said, okay, well, you have a mortgage on your house, I would assume. And so your mortgage is getting paid out of the checking account, and your checking account at least has a debit card. Now, if you don't want to put your debit card on file with something, I understand that. That's up to you, but you do have an option of having something plastic that you can put a card on file. Now, I would implore everybody to do a credit card because those are secured, but a debit card typically isn't with fraud. So, no problem. You get two options. Go get a credit card or go to your local grocery store and go get a secured one, a Visa one that you can prepay and you can reload and add $250 to $500 per reload or once a month, or get a small credit card with a $250 to $500 limit. And I literally told her this, and she goes, "Well, I just read a check for my mortgage," and I go, "Okay, I don't care." I literally said, "I don't care. It's not worth the." And she was a cut everything front and back weekly, and then just the front only bi-weekly, right? So it was we would cut the front and back every week, or 1 week, and then we'd only cut the front every other week, right? It was. Maybe I'm saying that backwards. Only the back every other week. And it was the weirdest setup. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like one time it would be like back in the day, it was $25 and it was like $18. It was $25.18. I'm like, this is so stupid. No wonder my business sucks and no wonder my brain is fractured. Okay. Everybody transferred over, moved over. You just have to have some confidence and not give people any other option. They either prepay for the season or they do a charge card and file for maintenance. There is no other way to do it. Okay. Let's keep going. I think this is number 9. I'm too young. I've had a lot of younger guys say, I'm 16, 18, 19, 20. People don't trust me. Listen, if you walk in there with some confidence and you just explain, this is what it is. It's the company policy. This is great for you. It's great for us. I have a whole YouTube video about, why I think it's a great system. You don't have to sell it. Don't sell it. Just tell them straight up, this is the way we're taking payment now. Like if my HVAC guy calls me, and we have an apartment here, but if I had a house and my HVAC guy came in and I'm just like, yeah, we're moving to a charge card on file. It's gonna be easier for you, easier for me. Let me just get your info here. I'll send you that link and you guys can populate that or whatever. I'd say, okay, cool, sounds good, man. No big deal. And if he was like, yeah, but it's really, really going to help everybody. And like, it feels really good to just know that like your bill's paid. And, yeah. And if you don't want to do it, I'll take PayPal or Venmo. I'd be like, why is this guy kind of acting weird? Like he's the business owner. Like I'm the customer. I understand like I'm the customer's always right. But like, it would just be kind of desperate, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of like clinger boyfriend or clinger girl type, content there. And I'd be like, I'm actually losing confidence in this person as a professional by like backtracking and backtreading on what they just told me is their new policy. Be firm. Like why would it be weird? All right, so I'm too young. Sometimes I get that from the younger guys, 16 to 18. I don't know if you can do Yardbook or another CRM and then add a credit card on file. I wouldn't see an issue why. I don't know if there's any legality of why an 18-year-old or younger couldn't take a credit card for payment because everybody's got a little hustle these days. But maybe check with somebody. I personally wouldn't think it's an issue, but moving on. You're not too young. You just need to get some confidence about you. It's no big deal. Okay. What would this be? 10, 9, 8. I guess number 8, explaining a new system to customers. I understand it takes time, but you know what? Take some time on the front end so you don't have to spend hours on the back end. A 5-minute phone call to 100 customers or 10, 15 minutes every month chasing down half of your route. Okay. I understand it takes time. That's what winter is for. I'm not encouraging you to do this in April, May, June, right? I would encourage you to do this in the off season in the winter. That's what I did. When we sent out our loan agreement forms in 2020, it was like 2017 maybe. We have the loan agreements. You can get them at launchpreneuracademy.com. Scroll to the main page all the way down to the bottom. We get a free loan agreement form. We send those out to our customers. We get them all back. I included just a little piece of paper. It was a half sheet. My brother made it on Photoshop or Word. And it was just name, number, address, and then their email. Their core 4 pieces of information. And that's how we populated our CRM. And then I think that's where I moved everybody 1 year from paper invoices to Yardbook. And then the following season, I think it was 2017 or whatever it was, we said, hey, now that we're all online and getting used to Yardbook and the invoices, now we're moving to a charge card on file. Hey, that's fine. If it takes 2 years to steer the ship and turn the aircraft carrier, that's totally fine, totally cool, okay? Explaining a new system, it does take time, but my God, so does chasing your money, right? All right, let's go to number 7, establishing trust. Maybe some of your customers don't have trust with you. Well, people want to do business with folks that they know, like, and trust. Maybe somewhere along the way, they don't want to give you their card info because they don't like you, they don't know you enough, or they don't trust you. That's fine. Take some time to establish some rapport. Give them some confidence. Hey, we don't see any of the card info. We don't get access to the card info. And I've said this on a previous podcast. When you sign them up, just say, hey, I'm going to email you the link. You just open it up in your email, populate your credit card, click save. I don't see any of it. And I always say, it's not like my wife and I were going to Nordstrom tonight and going buying $200 worth of clothes. Ha, ha, ha. And they go, oh, that's funny. Like, oh, there wouldn't be any extra room for that anyway. Ha, ha, ha. You're like, what? No, I'm just kidding. But you just have fun with people, okay? It's okay to relate. It's okay to just say, hey, we are, it all comes from confidence. I'm just telling you straight up, if it's all distilled into one word, it's just confidence moving forward, okay? Establish trust with them. That's could be a reason why some people don't want to give you their credit card info. If they don't want to give you their credit card info, you got to ask why, right? Like if you're a professional and you're doing a good job and you have a $100,000 rig or $50,000 rig showing up and you've been on their property every day or once a week, every week for 3 years, at this point, you have their gate access number. You've played with their dog. You've probably thrown a baseball with their kids. You've probably waved to the neighbors, right? You've probably took the trash cans to the garage once. You're family to these people by now. And if not, then I don't know what else to say. Something else is going on. You got to figure that out. All right, moving down the list. I think this would be like number 6 or so. We've always done it this way. I think I heard somebody, Caleb Allman or something like that, say that is one of the most dangerous phrases in the English language. We've always done it this way. We've always invoiced. I inherited the business from my dad. We've always done a mail, invoice. We don't want to mess up our system, blah, blah, blah. It's 2022. If somebody was to cut me an invoice, I literally don't even know of anybody nowadays, and I'm not like, super fancy here. I'm just saying, I don't know anybody that cuts me an invoice that net 30s me or net 60s me for any service that I use, let alone any service that I do. It's fast money today, man. Currency is current. It's moving, right? We've always done it this way of invoicing and all this mess. You got to get out of that, change your mind. You got to get from this Boeing 747 to a VLJ. You got to get to a very light jet. You need to be lean, nimble, just race through the sky. You don't need to be this clunky Airbus A380 with all these stupid reasons of why not to adopt a charge card on file system. And I'm saying that with love and sincerity, okay? Another one here is I prefer, these are some of the big ones. This is what I hear a lot from a lot of folks. I prefer cash or I prefer a check. Well, I understand where you're coming from the cash thing. And as the world and the economy gets crazier and crazier, I do understand, broadly speaking, where you're coming from. That being said, you're not doing you or anybody else any favors by not running your business as legitimate as possible by running everything through your checking account, your bank account, through your business, through your QuickBooks, okay? Can you imagine, I've said this once on a podcast, can you imagine Jeff Bezos being like, yeah, dude, we did $800 billion last year, but $150 million of it was cash, bro, and so we're not going to get taxed on that. Do you think they would have ever got past $500,000 or $1 million in sales? No. Okay, so I understand the hustle and I understand you want 50, 80, $100 cash and whatnot, but you're not losing anything really if you put that in the account. You have proper deductions, a good CPA to help you manage your money. And what happens when you want to get a new truck loan or you want to get a new or house or move? You need to show your income. Stop doing the cash stuff. If somebody comes up and says, hey, $20 to suck up these leaves, fine, pocket it. But anything over that, I mean, even under technically, but anything over that, okay, like a little tip or something like that for lunch, my gosh, just put it in the checking account, do it right, okay? Same thing with, I prefer checks. I would love to have somebody do another rebuttal podcast back and tell me why you would prefer to receive a check when you can just do a charge card on file. And we'll get into the fees here in a minute. But how many times have you guys lost a check or it's fallen in between the car seat, the door jamb, or in between the console? You found it in your jeans after it's gone through the wash, after it's gone through the dryer, and you find it in the lint trap shredded in 80 different pieces. Everybody's done it once. I think back in the day, I probably did it once a month. Okay, it happens. And then you're like telling the customer, hey, it went through my jeans and can you cut me another check? And they got to do a stop check fee for $35 or they'll tell you to shred the other check, which you kind of did anyway. That's funny right there. the whole check thing, they get long. I was just talking to somebody the other day, like, man, I found a check from 2 years ago in my console in my truck. And I'm like, do you cash it? Do you tell the customer, hey, that $140 we never got, and we need to cash this check, right? Stop paying by cash. Stop taking payment by cash. Stop taking payment by check. Now, if it's a landscape job, I got this question on a coaching call recently. If it's a landscape job and it's over $1,000, start taking a check. That's fine. That's fair. But get in your truck and immediately do the little Chase Quick Pay deposit thing from your phone, okay? And then you know that check is deposited, okay? And people are like, why wait 5 to 7 days or 10 days to cash my checks? Why? I want to make sure that it cashes right there, because if not, I'm taking my mulch back. I'm just having fun, okay? I understand the credit card fees will eat you alive on a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 landscape job. We're not talking about that. Let's keep going. All right, number 5 or 4 or 3, whoever we're at in this list. I have to wait for my money. That's another one I hear a bunch. I got to wait for my money, but when I do a charge card on file, because I won't get it for 5 to 7 business days. Here's my only rebuttal to that, and it was just the truth for me. I was getting half of my cash flow before up front, or if I did a charge card on file and I had to wait 4 to 5 days or less, and I got 99% of it, which would you rather have? Half of your money up front, or wait 4 extra days and have a little discipline, a little financial margin, and get 99% of your money? That's the honest answer. So people that say, well, I want to get my cash and I want my checks and I want my invoices, I want it to come faster. First off, I don't think you're going to be able to mail out an invoice and get a return check 2 days out, 2 days back faster than you're going to get the 5-day charge card on file release of funds anyway, right? But here's the deal. The people that say that, in my humble opinion, is that their cash flow stinks so bad that they don't have the surplus in their account. They're so hungry, so desperate to get those funds that they couldn't imagine having to wait for 4 or 5 extra days. Here's the thing. Let that bank up for 2 months of getting 99% of your money, and I promise you'll have the buffer in the checking account to be a little bit more patient with trying to get your money. Okay, patient being 5 days. Now, I know Stripe sometimes holds the money for 5 to 10 days. After you move like 10 grand through their system, shoot them an email, shoot their customer chat feature an option, or give them a call, and they will take the restrictions off your account from like 10 or 14 days down to like 5 or 7. And the more money you process through there, the faster they release it. Nowadays, it's about 4 or 5 days for the funds to get released, okay? Let's keep it going. Another one here. I just wrote this down really quick. Prepaying at the beginning of the month. I'm not a huge fan of charge cards on file with the beginning of the month prepays, because if you skip a cut, or a tornado comes through, or a hurricane comes through, or you can't cut because it's too hot, or you can't cut because it's too rainy, then you start owing people cuts. There was a quick question I got the other day on a coaching call. We do charge card on file at the end of the month. The work we did we charge for at the end of the month. It's that simple. When do we charge cards, by the way? If you're a Tuesday cut, 4 weeks in a month, we charge on the last Tuesday plus a day. So we charge on that Wednesday, okay? All right, let's keep going. Flat rate billing. I talked about that just now. All right, last 2. All right, and we're going to button this up. Credit card fees is a big one. Now, I understand there's credit card fees. I don't like paying them any more than you do, okay? For, I think Stripe and Yardbook, it's like 29 cents and 2.9%. I understand. Now, that being said, would you rather have 97, 98, 99% of your money, or again, be waiting weeks and weeks and months, and the checks in the grill, the checks in the door? Oh, I gave a check to your guys, and then your guy says, I never got a check. And now you have an employee issue. Just like that, you have an employee issue. Why even have those awkward conversations? It's on you, right? To eliminate those stupid practices and to insert best practices so you don't have to have those dumb conversations where we should all be in the field doing productive work, right? Go back to episode 275 or whatever we just did, okay? I understand the credit card things, the fees. Here's a couple suggestions. Raise your rates, right? Like I go to the gas station and I buy, $10 worth of, snacks. The credit card fee is baked into the price. Okay, period, case closed. Now, number 2, there's times when you go to the gas station or other places, and I think it's illegal to do this, but I don't really know. It's like you spend $5 or less, and they're like, hey, it's a 50-cent fee because of the credit card processing. Here's a tip. Go ahead. I don't care. It's a convenience fee. So some of you guys are like, well, do you add the $3 thing or do you add the 3% thing like at some of the CRMs? I personally don't because I'm militant and I don't give my folks any other way to pay. So it's not really a convenience fee. So I do take the hit. Now, that being said, maybe you guys are doing some landscaping and some lawn care and you want to pseudo adopt this whole talk and the charge card on file thing for maybe new signups. Okay, no problem. But then charge the credit card fee because it is a convenience fee for the customer and get your 3% or your $3 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just figure it out. I'm not like, this is the only way to do it. I'm not that guy. There's 100 different ways to have the cookie crumble. The credit card fees, here's my only point. For every 100,000 in revenue, it costs me $2, $3, $4 grand. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. That is a lot of money, but it's not when you get the 96,000. Okay. It's just not. If you're processing $1 million and it costs you 20, 30, 40 grand, you have $965,000. If you couldn't figure out what to do and to be profitable with the $965 other $1,000 coming in, the extra $35,000 in fees weren't going to push you over the edge and over the top. Am I right? Like, come on, let's be practical here. So if you can't figure out how to be profitable on the 96,000 you collect on the 100 you do in revenue, because that's the fees are 2, 3, 4%, then we have to have different conversations. There's more going on to the business. There's more going on to our pricing. There's more going on to our hourly rates and our per man hour rates and our labor rates and our overhead than the credit card fees. Okay, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here, but that's when the conversations I have. It's usually like this is a derivative. We got to find the root causes here. Okay. And the last thing I'll say here is people want their tips. I've heard this is the biggest one I get, probably more than the fees, is people don't want to lose their tips. Now, I'm going to say this as nice as humanly possible, okay? I don't know of any other people that try to pay their bills with tips other than servers and waiters, okay? You are a landscape professional. You're not a server or a busboy. I understand you want to collect on those tips. Tips are nice, but they're above and beyond. They're over and above. If you are looking to pay your baseline bills or have profit at the end of the week, season, the week, the month, or the season, based on your tips, there is more going on to your business model that you need to put under a microscope. Are we still friends? Okay. And I'm saying that sincerely because I was in the exact same boat. I said, no way I'm moving to a charge card on file system. Do you know how many, for every $100,000 that I was doing in revenue, I was bringing in probably $2,000 to $3,000 in tips. And now you're going to say, I'm going to get rid of the $2,000, $3,000 in tips, and I'm going to move to a $3,000 loss to be able to collect on the same 100 grand. Yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you to do. Well, and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not good business. I'm telling you, look at your account receivables. How much money is owed left to you? If it's at zero, don't listen to anything I'm saying in this podcast. If you had $1,000 or more stiffed on you this year, or still out to you in accounts receivable, we're shooting this podcast in December. The season's been over for 2, 4, 6 weeks, unless you're like in the deep South, like Florida and whatnot, and you're still cutting year round. But if you have more than $500 or $1,000 still owed to you, you lose the ability to rebuttal and to argue about a charge card on file system. Are we still friends? Like, I'm just trying to tell you the straight up truth. There's more going on here. The only people that look forward to paying their bills with tips are restaurant folks that are servers and busboys. You're not a busboy and you're not a server. You're a landscape professional, you're a lawn care business owner, you're a entrepreneur, and you pay your bills with profit, not tips. Okay. Do I like tips? Absolutely. You know what you know where tips come from? The tips come from you sending out your Christmas cards in the mail and your Thanksgiving cards in the mail, thanking your customers for a season well done. And you appreciate them. You appreciate your business. You leave your contact info, your P.O. box, and they send you a $100, $200 tip, a 1%, 5%, 10% tip. Okay. Can we still be friends? That's where tips come from. If you're looking to get your tips every month, and I understand it does add up. I'm not discrediting that. I actually worked with Mark, the guy who founded Yardbook, and what you can do now on Yardbook is you can send out invoices, and when you do a charge card on file, send the receipt email, and they have the option to still have that transactions kind of like still opened up, if you will, where they'll get a follow-up email and they'll be able to tip based on the charge card on file receipt. And we still get tips from people that go up back into their email that is a receipt, and they can modify it to add a tip. How cool is that? Because I heard forever, and I was in the same boat. I'm like, I don't give up $4,000 in tips. My gosh, if you just get the first 100,000 per 100,000 in revenue instead of the $4,000 of tips you're trying to get on every 100,000 in revenue, if you just get the first 100,000, you wouldn't be so worried about your $4,000 in tips. Because back in the day, I was getting $50,000, and I was hoping for that $4,000 of tips because I always had $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 out there. And I'm telling you, you guys, some of you guys listening, by the way, you have 5, 10, 15, 20 customers. You're like, well, it's easy. It's easy to manage. I don't have these kind of issues with, 100 customer business. Listen, if you have 4 or 5 customers out of your 25 that are always late payers, and then everybody's like, I want to grow, I want to get bigger, or you just happen to grow to 50, 75, 100 customers, right? 25 customers, 5 didn't pay on time. And then I'm going to 4X my business next year and get 100 customers. What are you going to do with your problems? Your problems are going to 4X. And now you're chasing 20 customers, and at $200 a month, you're always chasing $4,000. You're always, when is it coming in? Checks in the mail, checks in the grill, checks in the door. I gave it to your guys. Got lost in the wind. Oh, hey, honey, things are a little short this week. I had my kid's graduation, or we had to power wash the house, or the hot water heater went out unexpectedly, or it's August and the air conditioner went out, and that's $1,500. They're going to pay that guy way before they're going to pay you. Hey, with a charge card on file system, you make it fair for everybody. And you take the emotion out of the conversation. Okay, it's just business. It's just transactional. If the HVAC guy said we're charging your card, on file for $200, or the cleaning person comes over, they have our charge card on file. It's just hey, we did something, they get paid for it. All right, there's no stupid story. I've heard every story other than aliens coming to the planet about why I didn't get my money, and I'm sure. If I did move to a charge card and file system 4 or 5 years ago, I probably right now would have heard the aliens visiting the planet, or they got abducted by alien story. Okay, but I don't want to hear it. It's not my problem. Okay, to have to hear about your story about why I didn't get paid. And the last thing I'll wrap up with, you all got to have your come to Jesus moment. Okay, I think I'm such a believer in it because I don't understand who wouldn't benefit from this. And I'm not trying to sell or convince you. I'm not the credit card company where I get a 1% fee every time you guys charge a card, okay? That would be pretty dope. But here's my come to Jesus moment, and this was just my breakdown moment, okay? I've told the story before on the podcast. I was on the doorsteps of a customer on Christmas Eve, right, begging for my $340 that the guy owed me. It was $100 a month. I think maybe it was $320. I think it was $20 cuts, or $25, right? Or maybe it was $350. This was 6-7 years ago. And this was my come to Jesus moment because I was trying to buy Christmas presents. I had no money. I had no money in the account, and I had no Christmas presents under the tree. My wife is a gifts person. If you listen to read the book, The 5 Love Languages, there's, I'm not going to go through them all, but one is gifts. And my wife is a gifts person. She's out of the 5, she doesn't have any other dialect or any other, category. She is 100% gifts, well, and quality time, but all women are quality time. But she's a gifts person. And so how much of a hero did I feel like on Christmas Eve, when I had no presents under the tree? I felt like a 0, not a hero. And at, 2:00 on a Wednesday, I'm banging on the door of a guy who's a robotics engineer. He's got a bad to the bone Charger Hellcat in the driveway. I'm broke as a joke, and this guy owes me $350 for 2 extra months because this was from the 3 months from like August, September, and October. Okay, so he's 2 months behind on paying me the $350 in total, right? So he's 3 months behind on August. He's 2 months behind in September. He's 1 month behind on October. Whatever. I didn't assess any fees because I didn't have any gumption about me. Insert your adjective there. And so I was banging on this guy's door, getting my check. He's like, come on over at Christmas Eve. I'll get this to you. And it's, I don't know, noon, 1, 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Cuts me a check for $350. Oh, I was in Mexico for 8 weeks and an assembly line went down. They needed me. I'm clearly a very important person. I've never been to Mexico. Hell, I've never been to Ohio by then. So I didn't have any money. And I'm just little old Brian on a little doorstep begging for my $350. And so what did I do? I went across the, a mile down the road to the little Chase ATM, deposited in the ATM. And, they do like a certain amount of the funds gets released, so probably half of your check. And I went to our local mall, 12 Oaks Mall, and I went and bought my wife 3 little gifts for like $50 and like $80, like probably Lululemon something and 2 other things, right? Little Pandora charm bracelet and a little, something else, a little Burger King gift card, because that's all I had. I'm like, hey, I'll give you a gift and I'll get food out of it. That's a 2 for 1, because that's how broke we were. And I make fun of it now because things have drastically changed, but they drastically changed because I'm listening to other successful people. That's what they did. And I'm like, I want to be successful. So maybe your reason to move is to a charge card on file system is that dramatic. Maybe it's not as dramatic. The point is, get your cash flow under control. And if it's not under control and you have $5,000 or $1,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 owed to you, there's a good solution here. And this is the sword that I'm going to die on, because I think it's been the most transformative thing for me, because we were able to get the bank account swelling, to be swole, to have some swelling, to have it get larger and to have some margin. And I wasn't scraping by trying to get all my invoices in to pay the rent and then just barely get in there, barely qualify, barely pay the bill. And then 2 weeks later, payroll's due. Oh my God, I need $1,200. Oh, we have $1,350 in the account. We made it to payroll. And then, something broke on the mower and we have $400 bill. Oh, and I only have $425 in the account. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Versus we did 10 grand, we got 10 grand. It would chisel away, tick, 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 and it would get down to 4 grand. But by the time 30 days went by, we had another 10 grand month, and now we have 14 grand in there, and then we had 4 grand in expense, but now we're down to 10, and it started ramping up, and it was 15, 18, 20 grand a month, 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 20 or more, 16 grand a month, 16 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 20 grand a month. Okay. And how long does it take for your life to well, that's not all profit, man. That's gross. Yeah, I understand, of course. But what if you netted 10 on 20 and it's 10 grand a month, 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 10 grand a month for 36 months later? How fast do you think you could pay off 100 grand in debt for a truck and a trailer and a mower and a blower and a bagger and a dump insert? Pretty quick. And so I'm always trying to leave breadcrumbs back to some of you guys that are just getting started. I'm trying to leave breadcrumbs back to myself from 10, 15 years ago. This would have been huge for me to get my cash flow in order. It's not a silver bullet. There's 1,000 other things to still learn in the industry, 1,000 things to still learn in the business. But getting your cash flow right and more figured out was one of the most transformative things the last 48 to 60 months in my entire business. And I believe in it so much that I'm willing to dedicate a whole podcast episode for 40 minutes, screaming at the top of my lungs, please consider it. And if you don't want to do it, and if you want to just stay in your old ways and whatever, that's fine, that's fair. But just don't buy a $149 or $179 or $249 coaching call with me or a $199 coaching call with somebody else and then complain to them why you got cash flow issues and your wife's all pissed off at you. Can we just have a gentleman's agreement? Don't come at me talking about all your problems if I ask you on a coaching call, hey, how's your charge card on file system going? Unless you've only heard of our content for 60 days or less, you don't get a pass. Okay? Can we still be friends? I mean this sincerely. Like, can we still be friends? I'm trying to help you guys out. This helped me, and I sincerely want to help you guys out. All right? That's what I got for you guys in today's episode. Short and sweet at 45 minutes, just like I always talk about. I should just literally stop saying that. Anyway, I love you guys. I care about you guys more than you know. I pour my heart out on these things, and I'm just trying to leave some breadcrumbs back to some of you guys that are just getting started in the Brian Fullerton 5, 10, 15 years ago that man, all we did was lose. All we did was fail the first 10 years. But we did a lot of learning and a lot of adjusting, okay? That's my top 10 tips. I think they're really helpful. They're just honest. I think you can work through these. Adopt a charge credit on file system for 2022 and just get your business streamlined so you can start focusing on growth and focusing on customer service and focusing on taking your business and your life to the next level in 2022. Is that fair? All right, that's my prayer for you guys in this episode. Hey, last quick thing, we'll button it up. You guys heard the promotion for the whole ball of wax. Okay, I'm telling you straight up, get it. I'm just telling you straight up, get it. 6 new resources dropping January 1st, lifetime updates and upgrades if you have the whole ball of wax, including the gajillion other resources we have there on the website. The long care contracts, the snow contracts, the postcard templates. Take those over to Postcard Mania, get your postcards printed up, hand bill them, or get a EDDM campaign. The long contracts, the rate adjustment letter. Everybody's going to need that next year. For our transitory inflation, right? Up 6.9% in just this last month, which is ridiculous. So if your rates aren't going up 7%, at a minimum, you're going backwards, okay? Rate adjustment letters included in there. So many more forms and documents coming literally in just a handful of weeks, all right? That sale is ending Christmas Eve. It will never be that cheap again. The bundle's going to go up another $200 to $500 the first week of January. And so all those resources get dropped on the website, launchpreneuracademy.com. Super appreciate the support, guys. Sincerely, we really do. And we just know that so many of you guys are out there kicking butt and taking names. That's what I got for you guys on today's episode. You guys have a beautiful rest of the week, and we'll be back on Friday before I know it to button this thing up, and we'll talk to you guys here on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.